Hello. One of these days I will get the order right. Was that a different song? Did
Yeah,
they
I like
change the
that.
countdown song?
I
It
like
seems
that
so
a lot better.
it seems so tranquil. I don't know.
Uh,
Felt vacation-y.
yeah, it did, didn't it?
Yeah,
We're
it
in
really
Hawaii.
did.
Let's pretend we're in Hawaii. We need to be somewhere.
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice? A vacation
Yeah.
would be nice.
Yeah, it would be.
So, okay, well, we have a few of our friends are here with us this evening. I see
Yeah.
my dad. Hi, Dad. Miss Leah.
Hi, Leah.
Leah, thank you for joining us. And Alexis. Hi,
Wonderful
Miss
mods.
Morales. Oh, well, hello. If it isn't my friend, Jason Branson. Hi,
Hello.
Jason.
OnlyFans says hello.
OnlyFans.
Says
Oh,
hello.
he's in Singapore. Did you know that? OnlyFans in Singapore. Hey, Route Irish. Nice to see you.
Hello.
Nice to see you guys. Thanks for coming
Definitely.
and hanging out with us on a Saturday night. I don't know if
Yes.
you've got like all
These
the
are
big events in the world are slow for the moment, so that's good.
these
Hello,
are our
Governor.
dates for the night.
Governor.
Hello,
I'm
governor.
not even gonna try. So we've got a couple of different things we're gonna talk about. That was a fun stream last week, huh?
Yes, it was.
With Tanika, Miss Tanika.
Yes.
Love her. She is great. For some reason, my notifications do not seem to be working correctly, and I'm not getting notified of her videos.
I'm not either. I need to go in and check that too. I
I
haven't
know.
been
I
getting
need
either.
to like re-enable, or I don't know
Me
if it's
too.
my phone or if it's an issue.
Yeah.
So we are going to probably not be quite as much fun as Tanika is, but we'll try. And we're going to
Here, we'll make a really quick fun intro. This can be Sugar Bear. That's as good as I
okay.
got. I'm sorry.
Is his name Stitch? What is that?
Yeah.
Is his name Stitch?
Stitch. Yeah.
Gotcha.
He's always
Okay.
beside me. These are
Got
comic
it.
relief.
Okay, so
Oh, by the way, what's your name? People that
I'm
are new, what's your
Sam.
name?
Hi,
Yeah,
I was
I'm
just getting
Jenny.
ready to introduce us. For anyone who is new here, welcome. We're so glad to have you.
Yes,
My name is Sam. I'm a licensed private investigator in Florida. I went to law school for my midlife crisis, and instead of becoming a lawyer, I became a criminal defense investigator. So I work on some of the cases that you watch here on YouTube, including, but not limited to, Miss Sarah Boone. And with me is my co-host, Jenny Reisinger, who dabbles in the social medias of sorts and does research and stuff for me to help with the channel.
with Alexis, yes.
Yes, together with our newest moderator, Alexis.
Yes.
I have a very organized back end of YouTube. Too bad that the rest of my life is not quite so well organized. I hate to say it. Welcome, Gail. Yeah, Sugar Bear looks a little blue. That's Jenny's Sugar Bear.
Yeah, actually, my Sugar Bear is my husband's nickname, so.
Oh, okay.
It is.
And Henry will, he's had a lot to say lately. So my cat is Henry, and we may see him here shortly.
Yes.
And
so what are we talking about?
so I'm going to be
What we
putting
talk
you
about?
guys through me trying to share stuff with you, which we all know goes really well all of the time. And like right now, I can't even get out of the StreamYard piece I'm in and where I want it to be. Oh, wait, there. Okay, got it.
Got it.
So we're continuing down this road of what I'm calling the power of the prosecution, because I don't think anybody understands. I'm not sure even I understand still how powerful. Hey, Mama. How powerful. Hey, Mads. Nice to see you.
Hey, Mads.
Thanks
everybody for coming.
Yeah, thanks, you guys. I've got prosecutorial stuff. We're going to look at, I have an outline. We're going to follow it. We're going to look at a couple of different things. The first thing I'm going to show you, though, is if you have been coming to this channel since I've been on here chattering away at you, you will know that one of my biggest gripes is the fact that all of my cases right now seem to be teenagers unaliving other teenagers. And of course, it's recorded and or on social media. And a couple weeks ago, I had my friend and colleague Scotty Snarty on here, who is a criminal defense attorney here in Tampa. And we work on a lot of the same cases together. I work on court appointed cases. So that means the state of Florida pays for me to work for private defense attorneys on indigent people's defenses. Hopefully that made sense. Anyway, he sent me this article the other day, and it was about a whole bunch of teenagers beating up another teenager. But what struck me about it was where. So here I'm like actually in Tampa. Tampa Bay is a bigger area, right? I'm in Hillsborough County, and I'm not far from downtown. I call where I live to be rich adjacent. So like I'm kind of on the other side of the proverbial tracks, right? It's just a big road. I'm on the other side of the road from the old money houses and all that. So here in Tampa, this part of Tampa, there's some big money. And I forget that we have like a lot of professional sports teams here because I don't follow sports, you know? Like Miami was super flashy all the time. You could not help
Yeah.
but know
Yeah,
you
the
were
Dolphins stuff.
at
Yeah.
all times. Here, I don't know, maybe I don't get out enough. Anyway, this group of teenagers assaulted, I think, I have a little news clip to show you guys. I
Over
wanted
a social media post.
it's yeah, I guess
Yeah.
that's what it was.
Yeah.
But it happened on Davis Island, and Davis Island is pricey. I mean, this is a very wealthy area, like multi-million dollar homes. And the other thing that I found to be really interesting about it, when he sent me the link to the clip we're going to look at, is that the kids who have now all been charged as adults, they all go to, well, a lot of them, I shouldn't say all, most of them go to Plant High School, which is different than Plant City High School. Plant High School is not far from where I live it is in the rich area. I'm rich adjacent, but Plant High School like is the public high school right there.
Hmm.
And it's a really nice high school. So I'm like, what do you mean they're over there beating people up? Like, because I guess we want to tell ourselves that that's never going to happen in the, in a safe area. Yeah, we'd be wrong.
It's just
We'd be
scary.
really
People
wrong.
put things on social media and they're not using their brains when they do this stuff. And then this goes to show you one little thing, you might, threaten somebody on social media thinking, oh, I'm big and bad. And then, not saying that not everybody was involved was bad, but I'm just saying you say something on social media and then people can take it to the next level.
Yeah, you never know how something's going to
Yeah.
be interpreted.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to attempt to do right now, and we don't have Aaron or Chris here tonight to sort of help me along. So I'm going to do my best to share with you a video. So Fox 13 is the news channel here in Tampa that is always in the courtroom. So if there's ever court related stuff, it's always from Fox 13 Tampa. So that's what I'm going to show you, is these kids being showing up in court. So let's give that a shot.
Quick warning, people.
Warning. I'm gonna share
Quick
the
warning to
screen.
people that doesn't like to see stuff like this.
Oh, well, is it? I don't think it's also that brutal, is it?
It's not, but some people, just let them know.
We got lucky when it came to Hurricane Irma, and Hurricane Michael became a Category 5 in less than 36 hours.
Go to commercial.
Think about putting up your windows. Be prepared. With WeatherTight, you can put no money down or even use one of our.
Well, the commercial's on. Don't forget to hit that like button, guys.
Prepare.
It's our first look now at 5 of the teenagers charged with attempted murder following that attack at a Tampa dog park that left another teenager unconscious. This comes a day after the Hillsborough County State Attorney announced that she plans to charge the suspects as adults. Fox 13's Aaron Mesmer has been all over the story once it broke in the beginning. Hi there, Aaron. So they were in court today. What exactly happened?
Mark, it's clear the attorneys for each of these defendants thinks that attempted murder, is the wrong charge in each of these cases. However, they may all still remain in jail until at least Wednesday.
Mr. Ely, you're charged with attempted murder in the first degree, aggravated battery with a deadly weapon.
A group of teenagers sat together, not in school, but in the Hillsborough County Jail, all accused of attempted first-degree murder. One of their attorneys indicated he believes prosecutors got the charges wrong.
The evidence that the state is referring to in their motion does not bear out.
Danny Hernandez is representing 17-year-old Jacob Ely, who along with Owen Callahan, Joseph Gaswale, Jace Villanueva, and Grayson Shearer all appeared in court Friday. They're between 15 and 17 years old, but they're charged as adults. Orion Robinson, who's 18, was also arrested, but not charged with attempted murder.
The victim did get severely beaten, but not by my client.
Police say they took part in an attack at Davis Island Dog Park on February 13th that left another teen unconscious. It was recorded on cell phone video that Tampa police say is part of their investigation. Ely is accused of throwing a rock at the victim's vehicle and at the victim's head. He was initially the only one facing an attempted murder charge last week. Ely's attorney disagrees with the state's description of the attack.
My client is seen with a rock in his left hand, which he's left-handed, then not doing anything with the rock. Then later on, there is something in his right hand. There's no video that I've been presented that shows he ever flung it at the victim.
Investigators say the fight stemmed from a dispute earlier in the week. An anonymous viewer provided Fox 13 with a screenshot of a social media message supposedly from the victim that was filled with threats and racial slurs. The victim didn't respond to a request for comment. Hillsborough State Attorney Susie Lopez, meanwhile, released a video Thursday night saying she plans to prosecute each of the 6 suspects as adults.
This is an ongoing investigation, so I can't share all of the facts and evidence we have reviewed to reach this decision.
And all of the teens except for Ely had their first appearances today pushed back until Saturday. The state wants to hold all of them in jail until their trial. That will likely get hashed out in court, Mark, on Wednesday. All right.
Wow.
Okay. Did I do it? Did we
Yes,
make it?
did.
So
did.
that attorney, Danny Hernandez, I know him.
I thought so.
Oh, hold on. I didn't fix it. Hold on. All right. I knew something would go. I knew something would go awry. So that's pretty crazy. Yeah. I mean, I didn't expect to get 6 in 1, but there we have it. 6 in 1.
Well, he said that the one kid didn't help him at the rock, and the whole time, he's right. The one boy still had the rock in his hand at the end of that video.
Yeah. I don't know how they're going to sort out who all those people are.
I
But
don't either.
anyway, I just thought it was interesting to share because that's something I'm always talking about
Mhm.
is how young
Yeah.
my clientele is. And then
Yes.
also this week, yesterday, in fact, I believe, no, yesterday.
No, Saturday,
Um,
I think.
Mads, oh my gosh, this is going to be one of those nights. Mads says the thug life is glamorized now and many kids think it's cool. Plus some want to
Yeah.
go viral by doing stupid things. Yes. So yesterday, Friday, Luigi Mangione, who is a very high profile defendant now for the homicide of, I believe, a CEO of one of the big health insurance companies,
Mhm.
is charged in New York, Pennsylvania, and in federal court.
Yes.
Cameras are not allowed in federal court and are usually not allowed in New York courtrooms. So his attorney made a statement outside on the courtroom steps. And I thought what she had to say was kind of on point for everything we've been talking about. She said that he is being treated as if he has been presumed guilty, not as presumed innocent. She said that they haven't been able to have private attorney-client meetings due to the fact of the amount of security they have surrounding him all the time. And then she said something that surprised me a lot, which was that there's an HBO documentary out already with the chief of detectives and the mayor, and that they were discussing evidence that has not been provided to her.
Yeah. And they even had an actor pretending or playing his part, reading a journal of his that she has no idea anything about.
So
Yeah.
I feel like I sit up here and I chatter away, and I tell you guys these things, and I'm like, I can't always show you based on my own work or my own cases. I can't always say, see, this is an example of what's happening. But we're here now, and we're seeing it happening in a really high profile case that, even she says that that she is having trouble. So here I've got just a little bit of that to show you from her press conference. The fandom too, that's insane. You're right, Mads, that is insane.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what this is, this fetishizing of these,
I don't either.
but okay. So I'm gonna try to show you just the tiny bit of her press conference, just where she's talking about this real quick, because I know that some of the people who come here are here because they're supporting me and not because they're interested in true crime. So let's just give it a little go. So let me try this again, make sure I get the right tab to share. Okay, here we go.
Law enforcement, they need him to be wearing this vest. They need him to be shackled, and they stand right over us. I don't understand what this show of danger is for. When I go visit Luigi at MDC in Brooklyn, I sit with him. He is unshackled. He walks around freely in the visiting area. We sit in a room together without law enforcement hovering over us. But for whatever reason, here, despite all the law enforcement, they need him to be wearing this vest. They need him to be shackled, and they stand right over us, and we get no time with him. So he is being treated differently because of this unusual and, frankly, just the fact that he's being prosecuted by 3 jurisdictions for one event. It all is about one thing, one single event. So we object to that. We also made a record today that although the Manhattan DA's office has been providing discovery, we're past the discovery deadline, but they have made an effort to provide discovery, and we appreciate it. But what we haven't received is the police paperwork from New York City. We haven't received any of, they call them DD5s. Those are the follow-up police reports that detectives write. I am sure there will be hundreds of them, and we have not received those yet. Very important. We've also just today received the discovery regarding the arrest in the Altoona case, and we've received a little of that previously, and we are concerned that Luigi's constitutional rights were violated in Pennsylvania, and there are serious search and seizure issues that will be litigated in that case in Pennsylvania and in this case here and in the federal case, because it is alleged that Luigi had a gun on him and had other property on him that they are going to use against him in all of the cases. And if there is a search and seizure issue, and again, we have to review all of the paperwork and camera footage when we receive it before we say definitively whether we think there is one. But so far, what we are seeing is we think there is a serious search and seizure issue, and so we want the opportunity to litigate it, including in Pennsylvania, where he was supposed to have a court date on February 24th, but the Department of Justice is refusing to transport him and allow him to face the charges in Pennsylvania. So he cannot litigate those issues in Pennsylvania. And which brings me to the most important point that we made today, which is Luigi's right to a fair trial is being infringed upon because he is being publicly treated as guilty and as having the presumption of guilt as opposed to the presumption of innocence, which is what he is entitled to. And although of course, I understand the NYPD's need for a press conference before an arrest or after an arrest, which they did here. I didn't like it, but they did it, and I understood it. What I did not understand was how shocking it was that this week on HBO, in a documentary, I see the chief of detectives and the New York City mayor, full hair and makeup done, sitting down and giving an interview for television and talking about the evidence in Luigi's case, talking about police paperwork that we don't have, talking about forensics that we have not yet received. I guess we have now today, but I didn't when I was sitting there learning about the case, hearing an actor play Luigi reading from a journal that they say is Luigi's, and we have yet to receive it from the prosecution. And so it's outrageous that they have time to go and prejudice Mr. Mangione's ability to receive a fair trial and go out and make these statements, but not give this to us. And so we are concerned.
So there you have it. Right?
It's crazy.
She makes the point for me. Jason is being a troll as always. He says that Ralph Lauren made Luigi's custom vest. Hi, Kathleen P. Welcome.
Welcome in.
Rat Irish says he watched the Luigi documentary on HBO. Seems like he flipped out a couple of years ago. He seemed to be jet setting around the world. His parents are very wealthy. Yeah, Rat Irish, I haven't watched it, but because Jason is kind enough to share his passwords with me, I will. I heard that his parents were very, very wealthy, but then apparently some GoFundMe things have been started as well because, you know, the females, they love to raise the money. Yeah.
Ask Wade Wilson's fans, you'll find out.
Exactly. Exactly. So I just thought that was kind of interesting that this is I guess it's one of those things like if you say you pick out a car that you really like, you start noticing that car all the time. So I guess right now, because we're in this issue and it's one that I come up against every day about the discovery being turned over or prosecutorial misconduct or overreach or any of that stuff, like I'm starting to see it pop up here and there more. And I just want to show you guys when it comes into the public eye, as it were. Yeah, I know, Jason. I know. Don't let that. I hope they don't catch on. I can't believe they haven't yet. So, okay, I am. So I'm rereading the book I keep talking about, which is Charged by Emily Bazelon. I'm also listening to it because I went and renewed my library card, and I got it on audio, but not from my own library, from my friend Emily's library in Seattle.
We don't have one here. You don't have
a library?
It's in Winchester. We don't have one down here.
You don't,
it's
but
like a half an hour away.
Okay, but don't you?
They might have one in city, but I don't.
Okay, but like I have everybody's cards. Like I have Jason's in Dallas, Texas. I have my mother's in Columbus, Ohio. I have Emily's for both King County and Seattle Public.
Oh, cool.
And I have mine. You don't have a West Virginia somewhere nearby library card. You can't have a library card?
I don't know. I never tried. I didn't know. We have like a library in Winchester, which I'm not far from. It's like from like 1800s, 19. I don't know. It's really, really old, beautiful that I used to go to and just sit all the time as a kid. But other than that, I haven't been to any. I know like our town library is a little tiny trailer, tiny itty bitty trailer that's like for kids to go in. But I'm sure like downtown in Martinsburg, like 25 minutes, they may have one, but I've never seen it. So I have to go online and look. I don't go anywhere. You know, I just stay in my house. I don't go anywhere.
But like you have to have a lot. You have, Jenny, there has to be a library somewhere. Dear God, I can't.
I write a note to look for a library.
Because like I don't go into the it took me a year to renew the damn card because I never go to the library. Yeah. It's an app on your phone called Libby. And yes.
Where in the heck have I been?
I'm wondering, but clearly not in the library.
Oh, Jesus.
I just can't.
I go and buy books all the time. I guess I need to stop doing that now.
Do that. Stop it right now. Okay. So look, it's an app. There's an app for the phone. Let me see if I can't even see myself on StreamYard. So I've got the book. You can see there.
See it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So you can check out, but here's the thing. Like you can add as many libraries as you want. This one says Seattle Public because that's the one I was there. You can get magazines, books, videos, movies, electronic, the books you can read on the Kindle app. You don't have to actually have a Kindle. Like I have the Kindle app on the computer and on my phone. But law school will cure you of reading. Like you won't ever want to read again after you have read the way you have to read for law school.
Not
So
like this.
audio, yes. I don't know why you decided you needed that. I'll have to pull it down and I'll have to show you guys. I have to take it off the shelf, but Susan Ann, who is my stepmother, she took I think she took one or two of my old law school books and hollowed them out and made a law office like diorama inside of it.
Cool.
It's so cool. It lights up and everything. It's up there up on my shelf,
Neat.
far from where Henry's paws can get to it. Alexis, right? Those law books. Listen, I graduated 10 years ago and we didn't have electronic formatted books was not a choice. Then my backpack, like the
I can
books
imagine.
and the weight and the stairs. When I got to the university that I went to, the stairs, I was like, are we at Hogwarts? Why with the stairs in the South Florida heat with the 50, 60 pounds of books on my back? It was a lot.
Jake has to walk from building to building because this is almost like out like an office square kind of thing. So he has like a class in this building and then he has to walk to another building and then walk to another building. It's like,
well,
insane.
It's good exercise. Yeah, Kathleen P. I'll get it. I don't want to get up and get it right now. Henry's
So let's talk
already
about this
being
book.
Since
I got
Henry's
off topic.
already being a pill. But yeah, okay, so already I said I wasn't going to get distracted. I've been distracted. Okay, so other than West Virginia apparently does not have a library.
Yeah.
There's an app you can get on your phone called Libby.
Okay.
As in, library, Libby.
Get it.
And you enter in your library card number and your 4-digit PIN, which is, in my experience, the last 4 digits of your telephone number.
I don't do that.
And then you can borrow all kinds of stuff. It's amazing. I used to pay for Audible, and I did it for my old job, wherein I would look for the longest audiobooks I could find because I needed them to get me through 8-hour days.
Yeah.
And there aren't that many that are like ridiculously long. The book that I've been talking about is a long book though. So we're going to be addressing the book and the docuseries, which I think I have figured out how to co-watch it, or at least allow you all to watch it. That will be over on Patreon. It won't be behind a paywall, but it just won't be right here. So, and Patreon is linked in the description. And Miss Alexis has been busy. She's made timestamps for all the videos. Well, not all of them, but she's working her way back through them.
And making clips for you.
And she's making YouTube shorts.
Yeah.
Because I won't go back and watch myself. If I did, this channel would be deleted in a minute. So yeah, so Kathleen, Kathleen says she's a miniaturist and would love to see it. I would love to show it to you. I may actually just like film it with my iPhone and show it to you, like
that'd be good.
As a video clip. Might be easier than me trying to like adjust it to but it's really cool. I gave her some more law books. Actually, I'm like, here, how about it? And I think the other one she did a silhouette of a cat, like paper folding.
I love books. The thing about holding books. That's why I got that one. I love books.
Yeah. Well, I held enough books for.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. Alexis says for occasional bonus content, subscribe to Florida PISAM's Patreon. Yeah, for sure.
Yes, definitely.
I don't have Aaron on my back end knowing how to drop all the links. Oh, well, there, Alexis got it.
Yeah,
perfect. There's and let me also just say this really quick. So last week's stream did amazing things for my subscriber numbers and my watch time. So I'm getting closer to being able to have memberships. I don't know how I feel about memberships. Because like I can't always afford to be a member on someone's channel and I hate blocking content. But I do have this buy me a coffee thing set up. So if you want to make a financial contribution of $1 or $2 or $3, you can through this buy me a coffee situation.
Sweet.
And I guess now there's a monthly membership thing. I don't know if I have to set that up or what, but it exists.
No.
And for Patreon, you should just go over there and look at it because of the way I did you should just go look at the page because it's funny. Matt says I tried Patreon, but it's just another password I'll forget. I hear you. Kathleen says I went to school for miniature Levin Castine, Maine, a couple of times with the best miniatures in the world. Fun. Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah, that is neat.
That is a really cool
Very
hobby.
neat.
Yeah, Alexis just dropped the buy me a coffee link in there. So, all right, let's move on. Let me go back to my outline. I got derailed on the library. So here's the passage from the book. We often think of prosecutors and defense lawyers as points of a triangle on the same plane, with the judge poised above them, equal contest, level playing field, neutral arbiter, etc. That image is entirely out of date. It's not how the system works anymore. Much of the time, prosecutors, more than judges, control the outcome. They answer to no one else and make most of the key decisions in a case, from choosing the charge to making the bail demand, to determining the plea bargain. The officer in uniform and the judge in robes are our indelible images of criminal justice. No one needs to explain the power they wield. Yet it is Karen Titleman in her pantsuit and ballet flats, this is one of the lawyers, who today embodies the might and majesty of the state. It's all about discretion, says Eric Gonzalez, the district attorney of Brooklyn and Titleman's boss. Do you authorize the arrest, request bail, argue to keep them in jail, or let them go all out on the charges, or take a plea bargain? Prosecutors decide, especially, who gets a second chance.
Yes.
So, Kathleen, I don't know how Levin got there either. So I just keep finding little passages in this book that I find to be really, really interesting. And at the end, it may just be me who finds it all very interesting, which is why I'm not gonna, make a whole stream on here about it. So our main topic for today, though, is the repercussions. What happens when the prosecutor does a bad thing and gets caught? And I think that the very best example, and one that many of you may be familiar with, is none other than Carrie Morrissey and the trial regarding Alec Baldwin's culpability in the death of Helena Hutchinson from the movie Rust. So this was a very, very big deal. It happened in New Mexico. I'm not going to rehash the whole thing. Jenny went down a very deep dive into all the details. We're going to keep it very rough because
keep it simple, silly.
Right. So because the point
That
is
should be
like
my new phrase.
the point that the reason why I'm bringing it up at all when I know it has been so heavily covered is I just want to show a couple of things. Carrie Morrissey was a special prosecutor, which means she wasn't the elected. I swear, every time I come on here, my allergies start going crazy. Which means she wasn't the elected prosecutor. She wasn't the elected state's attorney. She was brought on specifically to do this case. There were politics involved, apparently, but she wasn't the elected person.
She was also a defense attorney.
Yes. Well, you find that a lot. I think I've talked about that before, where you will see a lot of, crossing the aisle. Okay. So there was the first trial regarding Rust had to do with Hannah Gutierrez Reed. She was 26 years old. She was an armorer for the set of Rust. And I guess from the get-go, the whole thing was just an absolute shit show mess because they had no budget. So she was found guilty. She was tried. Carrie Morrissey prosecuted against her, and she was found guilty. What was she found guilty of, Jenny?
Involuntary manslaughter. She got 18 months.
Involuntary manslaughter?
Yeah.
Okay. So it was generally agreed upon that it was a messy set, unhappy crew, numerous violations, low budget. They'd already been sanctioned for various things. And I believe it was the day of that we're going to talk about, the day of the shooting, right? That a whole bunch of the crew walked off set.
The
Is
day
that right?
before. The day before. So
before.
that morning they were scrambling, trying to find people to replace them and trying to get stuff done. And yeah.
Okay. So I think it goes without saying that a live round of ammunition should not ever make its way onto a production set. How it got there is a very long and convoluted story, of which I don't have the brain power to untangle. Many channels took this apart in depth, including, I'm sure, Ian Runkle of the Bailey, Emily Baker, Peter Tragos, any of them, you name Court TV, it was everywhere. So Jason said, sounds like every set Alec Baldwin is on. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be on a set with Alec Baldwin while he had a weapon. Did you know there's a reality TV show? He and his wife are doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So, okay. So back to this. As I understand it, and like I said, Jenny did a ton of research and went and found all the details, and I just don't have the capacity for it all. Yes, Alexis did as well. She actually provided something we're going to look at here at the end. So what happened was, after the first trial of the young armorer and before Alec Baldwin's trial, evidence was presented to the sheriff that the prosecutor was aware of, that the head crime scene investigator person, the detectives.
She didn't want to be called investigator. She made a point of that.
All the people,
yeah,
everyone knew about this evidence, which were casings. I'm sure I'm going to get wrong. Somebody's going to come for me somewhere. I'm being non-specific. Live rounds. Mm-hmm. Were turned over to the sheriff, right? Everyone on the prosecution side knew they existed.
Yeah.
The defense did not. Carrie Morrissey decided unilaterally that evidence was going to not be filed under the regular rest of the rust evidence.
Right.
And because she didn't think it was relevant. Yeah. She didn't think it mattered.
It was put in as documented instead of physical evidence. She didn't think it would be worthy.
Right. So there's, I believe the reason for this was, and again, I'm sort of, I believe that I've lost my train of thought again. Oh, I believe that what the state wanted to do was show that Baldwin was somehow culpable for those live rounds, making it onto the set, because he was also an executive producer or something to that effect. I hate when I watch channels that are super vague about the facts, and I'm just going to have to apologize and say I'm really, really tired. And you guys have seen this case everywhere. I'm just trying to get to one particular point. So, Carrie Morrissey goes through co-counsel like other people change their socks. Yeah. And on the day, on this what would ultimately become the last day, her co-counsel, her co-prosecutor, Erlinda Johnson, quits at lunch.
Because there was a motion to dismiss, and that's when they started finding out what Carrie had done.
Right. So the defense comes in, and they have filed, and I have it here, they have filed this motion to dismiss. And there's a lot of people involved in this whole situation. But basically, the defense comes in and they file a very short and very concise, well-written motion to have the case against Baldwin dismissed. And they had proof that Morrissey said she would follow up about the evidence and that she never did. Popple, what did you say she was wanted to be called?
Crime scene technician.
Popple, the crime scene technician, was told to log it in as documented information rather than physical evidence. And she was told to log it under a different case file so that it would never be disclosed to the defense.
She was very snooty.
Yeah,
Very
I saw
snooty.
that you wrote that.
Yeah, very snooty.
Okay, so the Santa Fe Sheriff's Office knowledge and possession of the rounds was not disclosed in supplemental disclosures, nor were they presented when the defense requested to view all ballistics evidence at an evidence viewing on April 16, 2024. According to the testimony of CST Popple, they were tagged with an independent number unaffiliated with the Rust investigation. These facts were elicited on cross-examination after Popple had unequivocally testified that all of the evidence that had been collected in the case had been inventoried, was stored in the vault at the SFSO station, and could be brought into court at any time. Popple also admitted that SFSO prepared a supplemental report about this evidence, which was also never disclosed to the defense. So this happens, you guys, every day in every state, in every county. And the defense goes on to say that on redirect, Carrie Morrissey immediately demonstrated her familiarity with the above facts, reminded Popple of Teskey, who's a person that brought the evidence, and sought to help Popple to reframe her cover-up as an ordinary investigative decision. Well, nobody died. Oh, Buck, I'm sorry. Actually, that's a lie. Somebody did die. It was a producer on or the director of a movie.
Yeah, she was
But
the cinematographer.
The cinematographer, thank you. Helena Hutchins. So we're just looking at this because a couple of really extraordinary things happened. One, Carrie Morrissey, the special prosecutor, got caught. And hey, therapist, hi, Susan B. Carrie Morrissey got caught hiding the ball. So she took the stand and testified on her own behalf. Once she had done that,
she's so arrogant. So arrogant.
She's very arrogant. The judge comes off the bench and examines
that was before she testified
for herself. Was that before Carrie? Okay,
yeah.
I've got some clips.
Yeah.
I've never seen that happen. I mean, I don't know that it doesn't happen, but I've never seen that happen.
She was fed up by that point.
I've never seen any of these things happen.
Yeah.
And then ultimately, the entire thing gets thrown out because of Carrie Morrissey's misconduct. So this is exactly what we've been talking about, which is the power of the prosecution. They had the power to bring these charges against Alec Baldwin, not once, but twice, because they dropped the first set. They presented to a grand jury, charged him again, tried the young armorer, right? Convicted her. How this ever came to the attention of the defense? Do you know that? I don't think I know that. You don't know? I don't either.
Actually,
let's get rid of that. I think I do not have Carrie's testimony pulled up. Let me look really quick here and see of all of our.
She didn't have to testify. She chose to testify.
No, she chose to.
Yeah.
But that was crazy.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I
was ready to rest, and then she's like, "No, I want to get up. I want to do it." And I'm like, and then so the judge made her to sit up there. She's like, "Okay, if that's what you want to do, then." Yeah, that was.
I'm trying to find. Is this clip? Let me see. Hold on, guys. Let me see if this is. I'm looking for where she comes, testifies, and I think I might have inadvertently closed that tab. Okay, yeah, here she is. Okay, so I want to watch a little bit of this with you guys.
Are you going to show where the judge comes down, or just her? Is that not important?
I'm bringing, I'm going to play part of Carrie Morrissey on the stand. And then I've got when the judge decides what she's doing.
Okay.
Where did you said that the judge came down before Carrie? Was that before lunch?
Yeah, it's before. Yeah. That was, okay, so it's outside the presence of the jury. So that was it day 2 that she did that, or day 2? It was day 2.
I thought it all happened on the same day. No?
No, and day 2 is when she wanted to see I think she wanted to see.
All right, let's just look. I'm just going to show
do what
you.
you're going to do. Yeah.
I'm going to show you guys this bit. Hold on, let me unmute it. Let me play it and share my screen. Let me make this bigger. Oh, I knew it was going to do that. Hold on. I didn't have this one brought up. Oh, for heaven's sakes. Hang on. Hang on. That's the wrong one.
It's all good.
Her arrogance is just
Oh God, yeah, she's worse than
beyond.
some of the other ones I've seen. She's up there with some of the ones we've talked about that I don't like. She's right up there with them. And it's the whole trial. She's like that. It's like she knew she was doing something wrong the whole entire time. That's what I gathered from that, just by the way she was acting. It's like she had to cover up as much as she could the entire trial.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. This took me elsewhere. I thought took me somewhere I didn't think I was. I had stacked up my tabs and closed some inadvertently. But did you guys see this when it happened? When Carrie Morrissey took the stand? This was crazy.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, I found it.
You found it, okay.
Henry, you better not have brought something in here to murder. Sorry.
Red rum. The cat red rums things.
Okay. Go to StreamYard. All right, guys, I'm doing my best here. Let me share this with you and get to the right one. Here.
We're back on the record. Well, okay, so just to be clear, you're a witness, okay? So you can say oath or whatever, but are you calling yourself as a witness? Or do you want Mr. Spiro to call you as a witness?
It doesn't matter to me. How do you want to do it?
I don't think it's necessary, frankly, for this evidentiary record for me to call Ms. Morrissey. I know what happened. The court knows what happened. I don't think we need anything further.
Okay, do you want to call
Sam?
No, but just
Hey, Sam.
so he's willing, as I understand it, to rest now. Okay?
Hey,
Now,
Sam.
you don't have to say anything under oath if you don't want to.
TV.
Okay, so not only happy to, I don't, it doesn't matter to me whether you call yourself as a witness. It doesn't matter to the defense whether you call yourself as a witness. So if you're calling yourself as a witness, there's no one here that's requiring you to be called as a witness.
The information, everything that happened in this regard, especially as it pertains to me, needs to come out in the public.
All right, so you're calling yourself as a witness.
And I am. It was my understanding that the court indicated to me previously that you wanted me to testify. I understand you've now changed your mind. I think it's a good idea if I do it. Where would you like me?
Okay.
Do you want me here at the podium?
No, I'm a
Okay,
witness.
sure.
All right, Ms. Morrissey voluntarily calling herself as a witness without any requirement by the court to do so, or Mr. Spiro asking her to. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm under penalty of law that the testimony you give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, go ahead.
During my investigation of this case and my review of the evidence in this case, I came to understand that there was a large batch of live ammunition that was in the possession of Thel Reed, Hannah Gutierrez's father. I also understood from all of the evidence and testimony that a portion of that batch of ammunition that belonged to Thel Reed was taken by Thel Reed and Seth Kinney to the 1883 cowboy training camp. When that was over, leftover ammunition was taken back to PDQ props. Seth Kinney took some of the ammunition from that container that he had brought back from Texas and turned it into the sheriff's department. And it appeared to me that he did it to try to exonerate himself. They took it from Mr. Kinney and they tagged it into evidence under the Rust case. Law enforcement then executed a search warrant at PDQ Props and they took the entire container. And I will say that I do agree, as I recall, although I don't have it in front of me, I do agree that the search warrant didn't really require law enforcement to take everything, but it was my understanding that Mr. Kinney gave them everything so that they would have it and could tag it into evidence. Portions of that ammunition were then sent to the FBI for testing so that they could be compared to the live rounds that were found on the set of Rust. The FBI testing demonstrated that the live rounds that were taken from PDQ Props that were originally in Texas did not match the live rounds on the set of Rust. And that's testimony that we heard during the Gutierrez trial. So what ended up happening was Mr. Bowles, Ms. Gutierrez's lawyer, put Mr. Teskey on a witness list and was intending to call him as a witness to the Gutierrez trial. I conducted a pretrial interview of Mr. Teskey, and I want to back up. I did at this point have some understanding that Mr. Teskey had had contact with law enforcement regarding these rounds that he still had in Arizona. So these are rounds that never left Arizona. They were always in the possession of Thel Reed and Troy Teskey. They never went to Texas. They never came to New Mexico. That's what all of the evidence indicated. So I understood that Detective Hancock had communication with Mr. Teskey about trying to get those rounds, and Detective Hancock was unable to get those rounds from Mr. Teskey. I did not find that particularly concerning because those rounds.
Sorry, Carrie?
Yeah.
Morrissey? You didn't find that particularly concerning? Why is it up to you?
Exactly.
That's insane. This is insanity, people. If you haven't caught on, this is wrong.
Rounds had never left Arizona. The filming of Rust was in the state of New Mexico. And the rounds that were taken from PDQ went from Arizona to Texas to Albuquerque. So ammunition that is in the state of Arizona that has never left Arizona did not strike me that it had significant evidentiary value. Then, and I will say, I believe I actually saw a photo of it. At that point in time, I was able to look at the ammunition myself, and it was visibly dissimilar than the rounds from the set of Rust.
Do you think she's an expert witness, like Trooper Proctor is an expert witness?
Yeah, exactly. Maybe.
I would like to be a self-appointed expert witness.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go through all of it because, like I said, most people I think who followed this case have seen this. But you can take away from it her absolute arrogance, right, at making this decision.
Mm-hmm.
It's just crazy. But so this was brought out to the judge. Judge comes down, looks at puts gloves on, looks at the casings. Carrie gets up there, testifies. Here's the result. This is something that we don't ever get to see, which is why I wanted to bring it up, was because, even though I know that most people here have watched, some form of coverage on this, this is something that you don't see very often, if ever,
I don't
right?
think I've ever seen.
And that is
prosecution.
the public repercussions. What happens when you F around and find out? This is what happens. This is what happens. Let's try this again. Go to this one.
Extreme sanction. And case law is very
just a bit.
extreme sanction. So dismissal with prejudice is a very extreme sanction. And case law is very clear that because it's very extreme, I have to go through every single element, and I have to make a very good record as to why I'm seeing what I'm seeing. So in order to establish a Brady violation, the defendant must show that the prosecution suppressed evidence, the evidence was favorable to the accused, and the evidence was material to the defense. So let's go through the elements. Suppression of evidence. The definition of suppression of elements, this is Case versus Hatch, is while the first element requires proof that the prosecution suppressed or withheld the evidence in question, it does not require a finding of bad faith or any other culpable state of mind on the part of the prosecutor. This prong is satisfied. The Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office and the prosecution failed to disclose the supplemental report to defense and provide defense an opportunity to inspect the rounds collected into evidence that Mr. Teskey gave. Is the evidence favorable to the accused? The second Brady element is whether the suppressed evidence was favorable to the accused, either as impeachment or exculpatory evidence. This prong is satisfied. The suppressed evidence is favorable to the accused. It is impeachment evidence, has even been offered in this trial as impeachment evidence, and is potentially.
Okay, so I'm going to stop and just explain a couple of things here. Again, I know I'm talking to a mostly true crime oriented audience, but some people come here because they're my friends and I make them feel guilty if they don't. Elements are what make up a rule or a charge, right? So when she says elements, there'll be like three different pieces of something that you like, for example, that the state has to prove each and every element beyond into an exclusion of every reasonable doubt. So what that just basically means is there will be a series of items, and it's like a checklist. Do you have all of those are all the items in that checklist, are they all checked off? Because if they're not, then you don't meet your burden. And then secondly, impeachment evidence means that it goes against the credibility of the person who is testifying. So if you're testifying as being an excellent IRS tax person, and I've got a list of your federal convictions for fraud, that's impeachment against your credibility. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because it's like it's a direct thing that goes to the credibility of what you're talking about. So impeachment is where they don't, sometimes you hear attorneys on TV shows or maybe even on the trial streams talking about whether a person can testify as to something when it's not hearsay. And we're often looking for impeachment evidence because, for example, in a case that I worked on, when a lot of time goes by, you get multiple statements to law enforcement. You get sometimes more than one deposition of someone. And then you can, if you compare all of those, which is part of my job, you can see where people contradict each other, their story isn't straight. And so if the state brings them up to testify and they testify as to one thing, then the defense has all these statements you made to law enforcement and maybe this deposition or other testimony somewhere else. And I can use that to impeach you, to go against your credibility because you're not to show you're not telling the truth. Does that make sense?
Wonder why she didn't do that with Popple, crime scene technician, because she literally, that's the part I never understood, because she changed her story and she even questioned her.
Yeah, I don't know. But and then the other thing is, so there's evidence that is inculpatory, which means it can be used against you, like it's bad for you, and exculpatory, which means it helps you. It's, my words don't want to just like floating loose in my brain. They don't want to come out. Okay.
Exculpatory to the defense. Critically, the exculpatory value cannot be analyzed at such a late juncture because of the non-disclosure. Is the evidence material? While post-trial discovery of evidence under Brady requires a reasonable probability that the result of the proceeding would have been different, discovery of evidence during trial requires an evaluation of whether the late tender has impeded the effective use of evidence in such a way that it impacts the fundamental fairness of the proceedings. And that is State versus Huerta Castro. This evidence is material. The late discovery of this evidence during trial has impeded the effective use of evidence in such a way that it has impacted the fundamental fairness of the proceedings. The defense is not in a position to test the state's theory as to the source of the live rounds that killed Ms. Hutchins. I'm also going to take a look at Harper, State versus Harper. The assessment of sanctions depends upon the extent of the government's culpability, weighed against the amount of prejudice to the state, quoting Chenard. Let's go through culpability. Our case law generally provides that the refusal to comply with a district court's discovery order only rises to the level of exclusion or dismissal where the state's conduct is especially culpable, such as where evidence is unilaterally withheld by the state in bad faith.
I'm sorry, but would you not want to punch her?
Yeah, the whole time she's looking like that. Like, I didn't do anything wrong.
I mean, it's just staggering.
Where all access to the evidence is precluded by state intransience. The state is highly culpable for its failure to provide this discovery to the defendant. The state unilaterally withheld a supplemental report. Santa Fe County Sheriff's Officer made the decision, and apparently also with the prosecutor, as pursuant to Hancock's testimony,
I love it.
that the evidence was of no evidentiary value and failed to connect the evidence to the instant case. The case agent, as well as pursuant to Hancock's testimony, Ms. Morrissey, was aware of the new evidence and yet did not make an effort to disclose it to defense. The state's willful withholding of this information was intentional and deliberate. If this conduct does not rise to the level of bad faith, it certainly comes so near to bad faith as to show signs of scorching. Prejudice.
Can you see how mad she is? I mean, I've got her sped up, but she's mad. She's mad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she should be mad.
Mhm.
And this is just this is horrible. But it happens constantly, and people just, it's never brought to light.
Yeah.
When discovery has been produced late, prejudice does not accrue unless the evidence is material and the disclosure is so late that it undermines the defendant's preparation for trial. The court concludes that this conduct is highly prejudicial to the defendant. The jury has been sworn, jeopardy has attached, and this disclosure during the course of trial is so late that it undermines the defendant's preparation for trial. There is no way for the court to right this wrong. Lesser sanctions under Harper. Trial courts possess broad discretionary authority to decide what sanction to impose when a discovery order is violated, State versus Lemire. The sanction of dismissal is the only warranted remedy. The jury has been sworn, jeopardy has attached, and a mistrial would not be based upon manifest necessity. Further, the sanction of dismissal is warranted in this case. The state has repeatedly made representations to defense and to the court that they were compliant with all their discovery obligations. Despite their repeated representations, they have continued to fail to disclose critical evidence to the defendant. Brady and Harper are satisfied. Dismissal with prejudice is warranted. Court also has power, inherent power. Per State versus Lemire, where discovery violations inject needless delay into the proceedings, courts may impose meaningful sanctions to effectuate their inherent power and promote efficient judicial administration. The state's discovery violation has injected a needless, incurable delay into the instant jury trial. Dismissal with prejudice is warranted to ensure the integrity of the judicial system and the efficient administration of justice. Your motion to dismiss with prejudice is granted.
It cannot be tried again for the same crime.
Correct. So yeah, with prejudice means they can't bring it again. So without prejudice means that it could be brought again. So she made very clear that, you know, a mistrial, you can be charged, you can be tried again.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
under
Brady is.
this, yeah, under this analysis though, you can't. And so she just really screwed it up, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wanted you know, I know it's not the most exciting thing ever to see, and I couldn't think of another example that was recent and so egregious. You know, it's just like, and Carrie Morrissey showed no shame.
Right.
It's just crazy.
And she appealed it, but then she withdrew it. So
Yeah, she withdrew. I mean, she's not going to get anywhere with that.
No.
And Alexis put in one of our documents that Carrie Morrissey was brought back again. Why did the DA hire her again?
yeah.
In February
I don't get that.
2025, Special Prosecutor Carrie Morrissey dropped the charges in the next case to which she was assigned against a judge due to insufficient evidence. So I understand, like, based on some of you guys' research and stuff, that she was used to trying like high profile cases or something in New Mexico. Yeah, Leah, really. OnlyFans says Karen Reed is a Brady violation buffet. She certainly is. All you can eat. Leah says, if I was Morrissey, I would have crawled under a rock and never come out. But no, she kept on, and she's shameless. She really is shameless.
Yeah, even the interview, the presser afterwards, she was still very arrogant.
It's just crazy. And so I don't know. I feel like I don't know how to present to you guys how big of a deal this is, that or even how often this happens. It's just the problem is that it goes unnoticed
Because they
or
don't, there's no repercussions half the time. They don't.
right.
Yeah, next
So,
trial.
and should she have been disciplined by her bar association? Probably. I don't know if anybody made an ethics complaint, but they certainly should have. So one of the things that Alexis found, so I'm gonna share my screen again, is something called prosecutorial immunity. Have you guys heard about this?
I haven't until Alexis posted it.
So I didn't know there was such a thing as different kinds of immunity until I was in law school. Like, I didn't understand the whole concept. But let me just tell you, if you're thinking about going to law school, one, don't. But two, if you do, I would highly encourage you to do an undergrad in political science and have a really strong grasp of civics before you, and be a good writer and a very good reader. But that's neither here nor there. So I want to show you this prosecutorial immunity, which lets them get away with things. Okay, so I'm going to flip this around one more time and try to get to the right place again. So far, not too terrible.
No, you're doing great. Proud of you.
There we go. Share this. I don't know if I can make it bigger. Can you read that?
Good.
Okay.
I can on my end. Let's see what it looks like.
Prosecutorial immunity is a judge-made doctrine that cloaks prosecutors in near absolute immunity from suit. Under this doctrine, prosecutors cannot be sued for any actions related to their job as a prosecutor, no matter how egregious the behavior. For example, prosecutors cannot be sued for knowingly prosecuting an innocent person, withholding evidence of innocence, or even fabricating false evidence of guilt.
Wow.
Prosecutorial immunity is an absolute shield against damages, lawsuits for claims that arise from prosecutorial actions. Believing that the constant worry of lawsuits would impede prosecutors' ability to do their job, in its 1976 decision, Imbler v. Pachtman, the Supreme Court created this immunity to serve the public trust and ensure the proper functioning of the criminal justice system. Henry. Instead, experience shows that immunity enables prosecutors to disregard constitutional rights in order to pursue convictions. Examples of prosecutors escaping liability are ubiquitous in the United States. For example, the Second U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals recently ruled that a group of nurses could not sue Suffolk County prosecutors who hid evidence and engaged in other misconduct as a political favor.
Just like Carrie.
Yeah.
That's
so
unreal.
What that means, though,
Kathleen,
is
I just messed up.
What that means, though, is that they can't be sued. It doesn't say they can't be prosecuted for bringing bad prosecution. So that was my.
Yeah, you're right.
Thanks, Mads. Jason, I hear you. Yeah. So there, it is messed up. It's like that's why I keep. I know I'm tired too. It's a.
Oh my!
I don't know. It's a weird day.
Since my sugar went nuts today, it's like now I'm coming down from whatever happened.
So, what that doesn't say that they're immune from criminal prosecution, but excuse me, I'm being bitten on the ankles. Come here, sir. I don't want to be bitten.
Yeah, I don't know why they even said, wasn't the district attorney that came out and said that she was standing behind her? I think she's the one. Yeah, she said she was going to stand behind her. And I'm like, they must have like a really tight relationship.
It's power.
Really weird.
The
It's a power trip.
prosecutor, so
Hi,
he
Henry.
is irritated because he's fat and I'm being picky about what he's being fed and he doesn't like my choices. But he's also hell-bent on removing
Oh,
the
look.
fur from his paws. Just lay here and be a good baby, huh? Hey, Susie. Did you pop up? Oh, hi. I hope you're feeling better. So yeah, the prosecution, they have more power than anybody. They have more power than the police. They have more power than the judges. So it's crazy to think that there are not corrupt prosecutors, right? It's just like thinking that all cops are good cops.
Right.
I think that once upon a time we were taught that there were good guys and there were bad guys. And now I think we know that bad guys can be everywhere, right? You can't.
We
just
always say the defense is
unilaterally-
the bad guys. Now we see it's on the other side of the aisle too. That's the size of my dog.
Henry, you've been fat shamed for the second time this week. I don't know why he's so fat. It just kind of happened. I really don't know what happened. I need to rethink this whole thing. I started feeding it. Oh, thank you, Susie. I started feeding him some different things because I thought maybe he was having allergies and that's why he was removing all the fur from his paws. But in the meantime, I apparently made him fat. So,
Go back to lettuce. His greens.
he won't eat lettuce and it's too expensive. I'm not buying him
Wasn't
lettuce
it romaine?
anymore.
What was he eating? Romaine?
No,
or
he was
something?
eating organic mixed
Organic.
greens.
That's right.
But oh wow, Mad says Henry's the image of her dog. He was fat too at 20.
25,
If
wow.
Henry's 25 pounds, I've got a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a problem anyway. But
That's 10 or 11, I think. She's all fur though. She looks bigger. You've seen her. She looks bigger than what she is.
yeah.
Yeah.
You hear that? That's Henry's.
Yeah.
That's Henry's YouTube. Sorry. I have another big computer back here that I put the cat TV on so that he won't oh, did you hear your show? Huh? You're mad. So that he will attack that and not me, and sometimes it works and sometimes he doesn't. Mads, he is active. He's probably I need to be more active with him. Come here. Yeah, I know. You are a chunk. Huh?
That's
Can you
Henry
say
though.
hello?
That pretty boy. He's so handsome. He's a handsome kitty.
He bites hard.
Mine does too. Remember I showed you the other day. She left some
Yeah.
good vampire marks on me.
Yeah. So
Anyway.
we're gonna finalize this series with a look at law enforcement misconduct and a look at judicial misconduct and tie it all together. So that will sort of conclude this little power of the prosecution series we have going on. I think we're going to look at I hear me and you.
Yeah, my my headphone was weird. Is that better?
Yeah, I don't know. I
Okay.
was just hearing myself.
Yeah.
Mads. Mad says, I hate to admit this, but Henny is prettier than our catcher. Did I just say that out? We won't tell anybody. Nobody has to know. It'll be our secret. It'll be our secret. By the way, Henry is why I am exhausted, because he decides sometimes that 2 a.m. is a really good time for me to get up. And he's persistent. So even if I lock him out of my room, he just throws himself against the door.
Oh my gosh.
And then the howling begins. So when people say that their cats run their households, in my case, that's true. He's in charge here.
Jake's dog sleeps with us when Jake's at school, but he won't eat at night. He waits. He'll literally sit there and wait until I crawl into bed, and then he'll get down and start eating. and he's loud when he eats, very loud. And then he takes the food, crunches it, and takes it out, and then crunches it and takes it out. And then you hear him licking the water, and you're like, oh my God. And he sleeps on my back. I'll sleep on my side. He sleeps on my back. So I'm just like in a position. It's crazy. But, you know, we love him. Except Mike.
So, we're going to look at, like I said, we're going to look at law enforcement misconduct. And I think we all know where I'm going to go with that, which is straight to Karen Reed, because how could I not? But seriously, we'll see what else we can find out there floating that would be interesting, that is obvious and entertaining law enforcement. I mean, it shouldn't be entertainment. And then I'm going to start a recorded series, which was actually supposed to come out this past week, and it didn't. And I can't remember all the reasons why it didn't, but it didn't, mostly because I need to film the first one. So I'm still going to be live streaming on Saturdays, just like always, and coming on here to hopefully chit chat with you, and hopefully you keep coming back to do that. But I'm also trying to mix in some other content. And then I don't know that I can stream the Khalif Browder story. I've got it. I don't know that I can stream it. I know I can't stream it from YouTube. And
I think you can on Patreon, but I'm not sure. I don't know. I know you can put stuff on Patreon that you can't on YouTube, but I'm not sure about.
Yeah, it may be a different. No, I've been looking in the streaming options. It doesn't. I don't think it's going to be,
because the whole copyright thing.
It's a copyright thing. There are bots that pick this stuff up. So I'm still working on figuring that out. Like I've everything I think of, you know, like 3 a.m. when Henry wakes me up, and then I forget what it is. But we have the whole thing off of Netflix. We got it off of a different site. Alexa sent it to. Aaron captured it all. We have all 6 episodes. But I don't think there's going to be a way for me to stream it without going to Discord, and I'm not going to Discord because I don't even understand it in the first place, and I'm not dragging everybody or anybody who would want to go there with me. So it may just be that I find a way to make each episode available to you, which I think I have figured out how to do. And then we'll set up a stream, like a separate stream, to talk about it. And that's what I think is going to probably have to happen with the book too. People who are interested in the book, I think we're just going to have to do like a little book club situation. And we'll do it like over on Patreon, where we'll go over a chapter. It's a long book. I'm not kidding. I did start trying to read it for you guys. I don't know that I will have the time to actually be able to do that. I have a trial coming up in a little over a week that I'm not super prepared for. So yeah, Mads, I just don't know if I want to go near Discord, period. Like,
yeah, I'm on there too. Yeah, Mads and I talk on there.
It's just, I just don't know how I feel like it. Yeah, I don't know if we had any lurkers. We've had about 20 people tonight, so I appreciate everyone who has joined us. Bye, Jason.
Please be sure to share the videos.
Yeah, Kathleen, you don't need to know anything about Discord. Don't worry about it. I'm not going down that rabbit hole. I'm too old and don't have the patience for it. But yeah, that's all I have for you all tonight. I hope you'll like the video. All you have to do is hit thumbs up. You can leave your fingerprint on there.
Yes, please.
That would be awesome. If you know people who you think might enjoy my content, please share the videos. Alexis has YouTube shorts going up now of me doing ridiculous things. I don't even know what she's putting up, but I'm just trusting her to do it. So, you know, we hope to grow the channel, and I've got ideas for things forthcoming. I just seem to have hit sort of that February slump that even though I'm in Florida, it just, I don't know, just like whacked me. Yeah, don't forget to turn your notifications on. Yeah, Alexis is having entirely too much fun on the YouTube shorts, but I'm just gonna let her have at it. Because listen, if it were up to me, nothing would ever get done. And I'd be sitting here talking to my mom and my dad and my stepmom, and that would be
And Henry.
And yeah, with Henry. It'd be like a family chat channel. So so I'm really glad that you guys have come along with me this far. I think I started doing this in, I want to say November.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Right around the end of November, right before Thanksgiving. So yeah.
Don't forget to go afterwards and leave some comments on the
Comments
stream.
help. Engagement helps.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it does.
I hit 500 subscribers with Tanika's help on last
You got
week's stream. That was
528 or something.
That's awesome. But you know,
something.
they want
Yeah.
you to actually like interact
Yeah.
with the content.
530. Yeah.
Are we at
That makes
530?
a difference. 530, yeah.
Yeah, the interaction helps. So I
Yeah.
really appreciate it. When you
Yeah, we
guys
love you
stop
guys.
by, ask questions, leave comments, whatever you've got. If you have ideas for future streams, if you have questions, things like that, let us know. We're planning ahead. There is, like I said, there's a lot of organization going on. But I want to be talking to you about things you're interested in. And when I can, and I bring you the stuff that nobody else has. But that's it's harder for me to do that. So, because it takes a lot of time for me to make sure something is properly redacted and has been closed properly, like all the things, right? And I do have more things that I want to share with you guys. I have things I think you could take and run with. It's just sort of a matter of legalities and also a matter of this. I still have a job. I work here in this profession, and I can't be given out, you know, my reputation can't be one that I'm giving out information that should not be given out. So I have to be super, super thoughtful before I put anything on here, even though I would love to come running and say, hey, look, let's figure this out together. So, well, I'll figure it out. But I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for joining.
Yes,
and I
thank
hope
you,
we'll
guys.
see you again next week. Good night, everyone.
Good night, guys.